Debbie, tell me a little bit about the park and kind of what it was before all of this.
Before all this, there was a lot of graffiti, broken glass, drugs, drug sales. I mean, it was bad. I had my daughter's former softball coaches that would come and tell me, you know, we don't feel comfortable bringing our teams here and practicing. We don't feel comfortable being down here with our girls because it's dangerous. There's people down there drinking during the day, and it's just not safe.
Yeah. So how long did it take for it to turn from that into this? I mean, I'm sure it was a pretty kind of long, drawn-out process, as most things are.
Surprisingly enough, it's been a year and 3 months.
Oh,
so this is awesome. Just over a year. It really hasn't been very long at all, as far as like the city processes go. So,
nice. And they completely backed you, I'm sure, into all of this and kind of supported you in everything that you kind of wanted to get done.
Yes. And the neighbors. Yeah.
Good. And so right now, are the kids back playing? Is it like now a very well-known park for them to come to?
Not yet. It's still closed. The opening day is scheduled for November 8th at 11 a.m. and it's a Saturday, so that's coming up.
Nice. So what was besides like your specific, like, you know, the children and everything, what else really inspired you to get involved with such a major part of the community?
You know, it was so, I live next to the park, so it really affects you. You know, you don't, when you don't live next to a park or a big open space like this, you don't really think about it. I mean, we used to have people that would come down here, the local gangs, 150 strong, and they'd have like a meeting in the park. And it, you know, it was uncomfortable. I never could plan anything here, you know, because you never knew. I'd look out before I'd come out here and go, okay, who's in the park today?
Right.
Like before you come down. When we had a director and the park was active, that director really kept the park alive. And he had a lot of summer activity, he had a summer camp, he had after school care, and with all that activity, all the other stuff kind of went away. And so when they had budget cuts at Rec and Park, slowly we went from having a full-time director to a part-time director to no director to a maintenance guy to a part-time maintenance guy to no maintenance, or like what they call a rolling maintenance, which is basically they come and empty the trash cans and they have no time, so they're just in and out. And it got to the point where they took all the trash cans, they turned off all the power, they didn't have automated sprinkler system for the field, so it all went brown. And then there were some homeless people that came and called and said, hey, is this park open or closed? And they said it was closed, so they took up residence.
Oh my God.
And so it was not only, you know, the drugs and the graffiti, and it was really, I can't express like how bad it was. Like
that's something no one wants to live next to, absolutely, at all. I can only imagine.
So I kind of closed my door for a little while. I tried for a long time. I've written letters in the past. I've written letters to Rec and Park, to the council office, to, you know, all of the council members. And in the past, like what would happen was we'd get a nice cleanup, and we'd get like a 14-man crew on a Sunday, because they work 7 days a week. It's not like overtime. They're always on. So, and we'd get like a big cleanup crew, and they'd clean it up, and then it would kind of peter off, you know. And this time was different. We had a neighbor who took a lot of pictures, and she posted them all over Facebook, and she sent them to the Daily Breeze, and she sent them to Joe Buscaino's office, and he responded on the weekend. And I mean, the pictures spoke for themselves, really. And it was from that, a friend of mine tagged me in her post, and I'm like, she said, oh, isn't that your park? See, I know exactly where those pictures came from.
Yes.
And so I found her, and it kind of went from there, where we got asked to come and speak and do a presentation at the Central San Pedro Neighborhood Council. And I jumped up and said, I'll do it. And so I did a PowerPoint presentation. We took about 45 of our neighbors, and we really like made a presence. We were like the whole meeting. We kind of took over the building, you know. And so ironically that night, Rec and Park was there. Of course, Joe's office was there. And then also the captain, at the time, Nancy Lauer, was there with, I think there were like 3 senior lead officers as well. So Nancy Lauer got to see our presentation, and she was just beside herself. She said, you know, we have you 150%. We're going to back you. We're going to clean this up. And if, you know, if they would have just kind of maintained it, you know, from the beginning, we wouldn't have had, you know, now we're going to have to do twice as much work.
Right.
You know, so there were a lot of things that were, it was like all of a sudden we had all this attention. And then we started getting a lot of city people that would come by. And we had, you know, like 3 or 4 of us that would kind of text each other, and we'd all come out and we'd kind of just go meet everybody and say, okay, who are you, and what are you doing here, and what are you going to do for the park? And so they started cleaning it up, and then they started trimming the trees. And one day nobody was home, and I saw some people walking around, so I came out and said, you know, hi, who are you, and what are you here for, and what are you going to do? And we started kind of like the conversation, and he ended up being the now general manager of Rec and Park. He was the assistant general manager then, and he was kind of devastated. I mean, he was really, you know, he was very honest and heartfelt about the condition of the park, the fact that the field was all brown. It was overgrown, trees, graffiti still, even though they had cleaned it up. It was just in a really sad shape. And
so is that something that you would say to anyone else who, you know, may be in a similar situation to you? Is it very important to get like involved in like neighborhood council? Is that one of the biggest stepping stones that you used?
I mean, it's helpful. It was the pictures, and it was the fact that we got about 45 neighbors together.
Right.
You know, it was the fact that there was a big group of us, and we were all like in consensus of like, hey, this is ridiculous. This is wrong. You know, this is open space. You can't say that it's closed. And you would call Peck Park, and they would say, well, it's, you know, it's closed. And in fact, the park itself wasn't closed. It was the rec building that was closed because there was no director. And so, you know, with that, it was just, you know, the public attention and stuff that we got from the city council, it was amazing. It was really amazing.
And I do see you guys also have a lot of exercise equipment out here. So it's not just like for the kids to come and play. I mean, people can be out here. I saw an elliptical over there. So that's another huge thing that a lot of parks don't have.
Yes.
That's awesome. I mean, is that utilized a lot by the community, if people coming out here? And like...
I certainly hope so. I hope that they're going to have workout groups that come here. I hope that people are going to, you know, when their kids are practicing or playing a game, that they'll, you know, loop the whole field. There's like a track now basically to walk the whole, you know, the whole park. And there's really nice exercise equipment. And so hopefully that's what we want. And then there's also going to be parking that goes down behind the animal shelter. So it's going to be new street parking because the parking is pretty limited up on Herbert Avenue. So
are there any other projects you're going to tackle like this one, or was this one enough for you?
You never know. You never know what's going to come up.
I can only imagine how much it's changed and how much of change you've seen living right there just with
Yes,
this
and it
being
hasn't
done.
opened yet, so I'm hoping that everything, you know, we'll keep it active, and that's like the key. We've got to keep it active and going and keep people coming, and I want teams to practice here and play here, and that's, I think, going to help a lot. It's going to keep it alive.
When does it open?
November 8th.
November 8th. Perfect.
Yes,
Coming up. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate all of your time and everything that you've done to make this park as beautiful as it is. Thank you.